This is Geography for Grade 11, produced by Tigray Education Bureau, transmitted by Dimtsi Weyane Tigray National and FM radio satellites and social media, and also FM Maqala 104.4.
How are you, dear students? I will present you Geography for Grade 11. Today, I'm going to teach you a new chapter which is about an overview of physical geography of Africa. Dear students, could you prepare all necessary teaching materials? And then open your textbook, page 101. Now, before starting the new chapter, what do you remember about the previous units? Okay, you have learned about map reading and interpretation. Their issue related to relief representation on country maps, representation of drainage on maps, human-made features on maps, and geographic information system were discussed. In this unit, we are going to learn about Africa. The unit will give you an overview of location, size, shape of the continent, and its regional division, its geographical history, and relief structure, and the continent climate and related issues. In addition, the drainage of Africa and its wildlife resource will be discussed. Besides, the soil resource of the continent will be emphasized. Now, today's topic is 3.1 Position, Size and Shape of Africa. Before we begin to talk about the position, size, shape of Africa, remember that at the end of the lesson you will be able to identify the relative and absolute location of Africa using world map, compare the size of Africa with other continents, describe the regional division of Africa. 3.11 Position of Africa. Students, let me ask you a question which gives you an insight about the position of Africa. What is location? Well, location refers to position or sites that a place occupies. African location can be expressed in two ways, namely, first absolute and the second relative. The first, absolute location of Africa. Absolute location is the position obtained in reference to parallels of latitude and meridians of longitude. It is also known as astronomic location. You can see the map on figure 3.1, African astronomic location. Then try to identify the absolute location of our continent Africa. Great. As you observe in figure 3.1, Africa lies between the four extreme points of the continent, which marks the extreme point of Africa are the following. 1. Extreme north, Cape Bon, found in Tunisia, 37 degrees 21 minutes north. Second, extreme south, Cape Agulhas, found in Republic of South Africa, 34 degrees 52 minutes south. Third, extreme east, Cape Gordofai, found in Somalia, 51 degrees 28 minutes east. Fourth, extreme west, Cape Verde, found in Senegal, 17 degrees 33 minutes west. Therefore, this means that the continent extends for about 37 degrees to the north of the equator and 35 south of it. In the same way, Africa extends for about 70 degrees west and 51 degrees east of the Greenwich meridian. From the map that show the absolute location of Africa, we can learn that the following facts. That is, when we measure Africa's greatest north-south and east-west extents, we find that they are almost equal. North to south approximately 8,000 kilometers, east to west approximately 7,600 kilometers. The equator crosses Africa almost at its north-south center. Africa is the only continent crossed by all of the following: the Tropic of Cancer 23.5 degrees north, Tropic of Capricorn 23.5 degrees south, the equator at 0 degree, the prime meridian 0 degree north and 180 degrees south. Almost 3/4 or 75% of the continent total area is found with the tropics, and therefore much of the continent experiences tropical climate. The second way of expressing the African location is that relative location of Africa. It is a location of a place in relation to water bodies or land masses. It is also known as vicinal location. Students, could you see a map of the world, page 104, figure 3.2? Africa relative position in the world. Look at carefully. If you observe it, here, Africa position is expressed in relation to the major land masses and water bodies that are closer to it. It can be described as follows. Africa is found to the north of Southern Ocean, south of Mediterranean Sea and Europe, southwest of Asia, east of the Atlantic Ocean, west of Indian Ocean. Further, as the map shows, first Africa gets close to the Europe across the Strait of Gibraltar, which is about 22 km wide between Morocco and Spain. Second, with relation to Asia, the continent comes close across the Strait of Bab el-Mandeb, which is about 40 km wide. This strait connects the Red Sea to the Gulf of Aden. Third, a narrow strait of land called Hazmas of Suez, which is cut into two by an artificial canal called the Suez Canal, connect Africa with Asia. In relation to the rest of the world, the relative position of Africa gives the continent many advantages. That is, the continent close to the rest of the world provides its geographic accessibility. The second, the geographic closeness that the continent has with Europe and Asia has results in socio-cultural contacts. Now, students, do you understand the basic difference between absolute and relative location of Africa? Well, the basic difference among them are absolute location can be expressed a given geographical place in terms of degree, minute, fraction of them, whereas relative location can be expressed a given geographic place in terms of water bodies or land masses that are close to it. Students, if your answer is similar with what I told you, you are right. Let's proceed to the next topic of the lesson, that is 3.12 Size of Africa. 3.12 Size of Africa. Let me ask you some questions, students. How large Africa land area and what percent of the world land mass is Africa's? Having this question in mind, let us see in detail. Africa is the second largest continent in the world, following Asia. The continent's total area is about 30,335,000 km square. This constitutes 20.2% of the Earth's total land surface. The continent is about 2/3 of the size of Asia and 3.36 times larger than Europe. Students, please look at table 3.1. Indicate the size of the world continents and the area of the continents. From the table, we can understand the fact that about the size of the world continents we can put in rank. For example, first Asia followed by Africa. Africa's large area gives the continent several advantages and disadvantages. The advantages are a large area of land that can be used for settlement, agriculture, economic activities. The second advantage, huge resource potential in terms of resources like soil, water, minerals, flora, and fauna, which are vital for its development. However, Africa's large size has also its own drawbacks. For example, it makes geographic connectivity difficult among the people of the region and of the world. As a result, there are a problem related to integration among people of the continent and other outsiders. Make both integrated development and international trade a challenge. Students, let me ask you some questions. First, Africa's large area gives the continent only an advantage. A. False. B. True. Well, the answer is A. False, because it have also disadvantages such as difficult to construct infrastructure and integrated development. Second, Africa is the second largest continent in the world following Asia. A. True. B. False. The answer is A. True, because the only continent larger than Africa is Asia, with total area 30% of total area of the world, whereas Africa covers only 20.2%. 3.13 Shape of Africa. Students, think over the following questions. What is shape and its significance to countries and continents? How do you describe Africa's shape? Well, shape is defined as the geographic form of an area. It is also the external geographic appearance of a place. It has a great impact on the socio-economic integration and flows of goods and services within each region. The shape of a place can be described in different ways. For example, 1. As moderately compact shape is close to that of a circle. Example, I will tell you best example of compact shape country in Africa, which is Zimbabwe. Our country, Ethiopia, has also relatively compact shape. What about our region, Tigray? Think over it, students. Two, elongated. It is a shape with one side longer than the other. Best example, Malawi in Africa. 3. Fragmented shape. It is made up of multiple disconnected areas. Example, in sub-Saharan Africa is Angola. 4. Perforated. It is a state that completely surrounds other. Example, South Africa, which surrounds the small country of Lesotho. Students, let me ask you one question. To which shape Africa has belongs? Well, students, if your answer is a relatively compact shape, you got the answer. Generally, Africa has a relatively compact shape. This means that the continent's longest east-west and north-south distance are almost the same. To this end, the following evidence supports the above statement. The east-west and north-south extensions are almost equal, with a minor difference. Africa has fairly unbroken coastlines. The unbroken coastlines of Africa make the continent poor in natural harbor. Many places in Africa are not very far from the coast. Almost all places are at most located 1,500 kilometers from the coast. The unbroken coastline discourages external communication. To sum up what we have already discussed today, let me summarize it, the main point of the lesson. Position of Africa. It can be expressed in two ways. First, absolute location. It can be expressed a given geographic place in terms of degree, minute, fractions of them. Example, Africa lie between 37 degree 21 minute north and 34 degree 52 minute south latitudes, and between 17 degree 33 minute west and 51 degree 28 minute east longitudes. The second, relative location, can be expressed a given geographical place in terms of water bodies or land masses that are close to it. Example, Africa is found east of the Atlantic Ocean. Size of Africa. Africa is the second largest continent with total area of 20.2%. The best quality of large size, it can be used for settlement, agriculture, and economic activities. Shape of Africa. Shape is defined as the geography form of an area. Africa has a relatively compact shape. Finally, I will give you a homework for you, that is a reading assignment for the next week, starting from page 107 to 116. The topic is about 3.14 regional division of Africa and 3.2 geological history and relief structure of Africa.